I'd like to leave a tennis ball in the time capsule. A tennis ball. Because it'd be interesting to see how it changed. So I wrote a novel, I'd put that in there.
Probably my phone, and probably just be a brick in 100 years. I think I might keep my Spotify playlist in my time capsule, like the concept of them.
A computer, a laptop from now. I mean, I don't know how big the time capsule is, but assuming it's as big as we want it to be, it'd be kind of cool to throw a car in there.
The first thing that came to mind was a complete DVD box set of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I don't know if they'll have DVD players in the future. Shh. I love you.
Ice cream wouldn't keep that well. I really love pasta, so I guess we'd put some pasta in there.
My baby photos might be fun, just because I like looking at them and they're super weird.
First love. I'd put first love in a time capsule.
A prayer book that was given me that belonged to my great-grandmother. Inside that prayer book, I would put one of the letters that my mother wrote to me.
I was thinking books. I mean, I don't think people will let books actually go. I think there'll be too much protest, but I would want people in the future to be able to actually feel what it feels like to turn a page.
Envelope of letters, and like mostly my friends back home. They also include letters from my ex, which is, but I don't know if I want to keep those, but those things kind of give a snapshot into what life is like. People in 100 years from now would be like, whoa, they still do that?
A love letter for my birthday from my wife.
I think I would also like put in this feeling of being overstimulated too, because I'd be interested to see in the future, are we just more overstimulated, or have we found a way to kind of like streamline this massive information coming in?
I'd want to preserve like the first time I heard certain songs or albums that I really liked, because I think that's like such a specific good moment. The moment of like when you realize that you're just buzzed off of like wine, when you're just like the right amount of wine drunk. I'd love to preserve that because that's a great feeling.
Oh, and a copy of The Matrix. Copy of The Matrix for sure.
It's like bad, but the portrait of the world as I see it today is kind of dark. And when I first think about it, the things that we perceive as good or worthy are sometimes not determined by ourselves. They're determined by people in power. They're determined by what we think is productive or efficient. Often that's not what is really good for us fundamentally, just as people. In a more abstract ways, I guess a lack of empathy in both the countries that I like identify with, like Singapore and like here, like the United States. It just feels like people in government or politicians just don't care about people who they feel aren't profitable to them, as opposed to just helping people because they're people and you should help them. Like minorities, like people of color, like queer people, like immigrants. I guess at the same time it's like really rich. Even when we don't realize it, we're constantly learning, like just subconsciously. The internet, globalization, all those like cliche things I think have really given us a space to learn from each other in ways that have been like unprecedented, and that has also created new avenues for like human kindness and like just us being able to recognize that other people in the world have so much to offer.
From an old poem that was turned into a hymn. Time, like an ever-rolling stream, bears all its sons away. They fly forgotten as a dream dies at the opening day. Ours is a transitory experience. We were born, we live, we die. The only thing we have in common as human beings is the knowledge of our mortality. We look on it as something that we live in so short a period, then we should view it as something we need to value as highly as possible every single second of it. And, piece of Mexican art by an artist named Jose Cuellar. He just did it all as one continuous line. And I think that's kind of magical. I've never heard of him since, but I like that. My philosophy of life is, if you show up for your life and see what happens next, and then just respond, it adds up to being something profoundly spiritual and profoundly moral. I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, by the way. I make no bones about it. It's been 34 years. And when you are addicted, it's all about you. Addiction is the most selfish, self-centered action that we have. And the only way to get out of addiction is to get out of yourself. Love one another. It's pretty simple. When in doubt, love one another. I am enough a student of history to believe that ever so slowly we do get better. And I'm not terribly good at predicting what the world will look like 100 years from now, but I think the best way to think about that is to go back to my grandmother. Her first movie that she saw, she was just sitting in a theater with this thing happening on a screen, and it blew her mind. She had never seen anything like it. It was as unimaginably magical to her as it must have been for the people in Plato's cave who came out of the cave and saw the world as it really was. So whatever it's going to be 100 years from now is going to be so dazzling and so unimaginable and so whatever that we can't think about it. But fundamentally, we're still going to have to deal with each other. And whatever we do, and however we do it, the thing that I hope most for the human race is that we don't forget that.
To explain why tennis is important to me is so difficult. I don't know what it is. I often say, like, it seems like it's almost like a past life, because nobody I knew, really, nobody in my family played tennis. There was nobody, like, really pushing me toward tennis. There was nothing. I just had this thing about tennis. An ongoing problem is that leadership tends to gravitate toward people who relish power, and those people aren't usually good people. That's an eternal problem, right? Plato wrote about it in the Republic, and I don't think we've gotten really any closer to solving that problem. I don't know. I don't think human nature is going to change that much. Hopefully some, though. Hopefully somewhat. The reason the racket is clamped in is because if I did this right now without these clamps on here, it would just collapse. And you see this is tight from the pulling weight. So then when it's tight, I can move the clamp because the tension's really, it wants to make the clamp slide out. I actually have this idea that at some point they'll make a tennis racket that will biomechanically be attached to your arm almost, where it's, I don't know, individually set to your DNA kind of thing. So life lessons from Gene for people 100 years from now. Go to therapy. If you feel like you're unhappy, go talk to somebody about it. Don't hide it. That seems to be a pattern in human behavior. Like, deal with what's bothering you, and then generally you'll be nicer to the rest of the world. I think that's the biggest thing on an individual level, and I don't think I guess 100 years from now or tomorrow, I would tell people that same exact thing.
I think there's a lot to indicate that they could also be bipedal, carbon-based organics, or maybe machine-based aliens, or something that we can't even fathom. Colors and just lights and things that we can't process because of just how we're built. Like, there's probably an entire planet that's just made out of cheese and has mice people running around on it. I have reoccurring home invasion night terrors. Yeah, it's not fun. I had to stop watching Criminal Minds. Fun fact, my mom also has reoccurring home invasion night terrors, so it could be a psychic imprint. I personally kind of just believe in like a cosmic energy of sorts and like the fates. The mass destruction that comes from few isn't representational of the entirety of society, and that on a base level, maybe we are good. You have really diverse fan cultures around television and movies and different media because people care and it's accessible and they can talk to other people about these things that they love even if they're 2,000 miles away. And I think that's the beauty of technology and media in this age. People can say what they want about technology rotting your brain, but I think in a lot of ways it does bring people closer together that would never have that chance otherwise. Hopefully we'll be pushing more diversity in 100 years. Can you put aliens on TV or can you not? I'm really hoping that we get into holograms. I think holograms are awesome. And if I could like project Riverdale into my living room instead of watching it on TV, I mean, that would be pretty cool.
He always like lets me hold him for a sec and then he bites me. Just, ugh. Oh. Yeah, a utopia. I think just where people can wear what they want, where they can make what they want, love who they want, you know, spaceships, definitely a utopia. Dogs can talk too. Cats. I mean, getting rid of money would be great. Cats, don't forget about the cats. Breakfast buffets, lots of them. More color, I think. We don't know why we're here, but we are. And so I think that itself is like kind of a crazy miracle. Everyone is experiencing their own reality simultaneously, parallel to each other, and that can feel really isolating, but I think also very freeing. Every day you can essentially be shaping your own world, which sort of in turn can help you connect with others in that sense.
I want to know where the world goes. I want to know what they'll do with my shoes when we drink all the water and nothing grows. Will we find another planet that we can abuse? I want to know where our gods go as masochists in government continue to tame us. I want to know what the science shows about who will be broke and who will be famous.